gentlemen, our friends, press, we thank you all for coming to today's occasion. Actually, this is a business that many people just see, they don't know what we do. They just see the name AGOS. Before I just stop for 2 minutes, I would like the man of the system to please play what AGOS is all about before I talk. Thank you. Thank you very much. That was very brief. I'm sure some of us are still confused what we do. Okay, AGOS is an office space business. We sell space. We sell space for you to do your business. So we have everything complete in here for you. All you need to do is just to walk in with your computer, and eventually be fully analog with your computer. Just walk in with your briefcase, your files, and then start work. Now we have boutique offices from 2-man office, 3-man office, 5-man, 6-man, 7-man, 11-man, 15-man. Now what are the advantages? All the offices come equipped. Everything in there for you. Of course, the AC, the chairs, the computer points, and the other sockets, everything in there for you. On the ground floor, we have a coffee cafe where we take a mini breakfast, coffee, tea, juice, snacks. Then we have the dedicated help desk. What they do, of course, they receive you, they receive your customers. And also we have some customers that are not, they don't have the physical offices here. Eventually maybe they're in the UK or they're in Abuja or they're in Port Harcourt, and they also have a branch in Lagos. So some of them need to have a physical fixed office here. What they need to pay for is the virtual space. With the virtual space, you have a dedicated phone line. You have your mails being received. You can use here as your address. Then when you have meetings in Lagos, you have 6 hours or maybe 10, 12, depending on your package of every month. So you can have your meetings in the boardrooms. We have 2 different boardrooms. We have one for like 9, we have one for about 17. Then we have the theater here, the Wembley, takes 52. So you have all those amenities at your beck and call. Of course, there is water, there is coffee on every floor for you, for your staff. There is a lobby that's obviously goes into 24 hours Wi-Fi, and then we operate between the hours of 8 and 5. Now, some people, hours of 8 and 5, they're just like playing. Their work starts 6 p.m. They can work till 2 a.m. You can do that. Yeah. We have the security officials, and we have the supervisor here. and you have your access cards if you are a client here. So you can access your office, you can access your floor with your access card. So you can work any time of the day. You want to work 3 a.m., 2 a.m., you can work. So everything is built in here for you, just for you to bring in your laptops and come and do your work. So that is what we're selling. Now, what's the advantage? You want to change offices, you're not thinking of buying furniture, you're not thinking of selling off or moving your old furniture, you're not thinking of all that. All you're just thinking of is just your business and your laptop. And of course, your checkbook. Even checkbooks, you don't use it much nowadays. Everything is done online. So that's what we do in AGOS. So for the virtual customers, you are outside Lagos, you have an office here, you're not always here, you come once in a while, but of course you can do your meetings here anytime you're in Lagos. Then you have the hot desk, hot desk just you alone, just with your laptop. You have that on the third floor. So you come your laptop, you walk on the open pool, and then you have. So that's what we do here in AGOS. We sell office space, we sell customized office space to people. We are 5 years this period, and we decided to have this lecture because we, as a business, we started with the mindset of building a global brand. And for our customers too, we believe they want to build a global brand. And any business that you start at all in life, if you don't have the mindset of building a global brand, that means that you're only doing the business for a short while, and you are not planning that the business will outlive you. Any business that you want to outlive you has to be built on the basis of best practices. So that's why today we are having a lecture on building a global brand to celebrate our 5 years of existence. So we welcome you. We know many of us already have fixed physical offices. You can refer people to us. Many of us are even retired. You can use this place as your office. Twice a week that you want to come and work, you can come and work in a cozy environment, everything all set for you. You're not thinking about anything. You're not thinking about Wi-Fi. You're not thinking about power. You're not thinking about security. You're not thinking about anything. All you're thinking about is just your business. So that's what we do in AGOS. You're welcome. As we celebrate 5, we pray that we'll celebrate 10, 20, 100. Even after the founders are gone. This business started with one director. That's the person of Victor Arebi. Today we have 3 directors, 3 owners, Victor, Moses, and Tolu. And the one currently running the business. You're welcome to AGOS. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm sure a lot of people are thinking, wow, there are businesses in this country, sure. How many of you were thinking that? Let's give them a round of applause. I beg of you. And, you know, there's nothing as easy as just having your briefcase and walking into your office space every day, not bothering about electricity, not bothering about, once again, internet. I'm sure a lot of us have that worry, and I think we should give the pool of AGOS a round of applause for thinking this up. One thing you also forgot to say is that this place looks very good for a press conference. You can have a press conference here. You can, there's a limit, there's no limit to what you can do in here. And my prayer is that AGOS, that seen 5 will see 10, we'll see 20, we'll see 30, see 50, and when they turn 100, you will all be here to celebrate with them. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I think we are practically full, and it's about time to hear from our guest artist, our guest speaker. Well, he's an artist. He's an artist. And he knows why I say that. He knows why I call him an artist. For 26 years of his life, he charted the course of one of Nigeria's most respected news channels. And today, even though he lies to me as a brother that is retired, I know that he's behind the scene, steering them on the right path. Essentially, ladies and gentlemen, one of Nigeria's brightest legal minds, a builder, a thinker, an interest perfectionist. He'll be talking to us about building what we all need to build in this day and age, building a global brand. If your hands are not too busy, please let's put them together for the irrepressible Sir Ademola Oshi Nubi, Knight of Journalism. Sir.
Will that suffice?
No.
I'll still get some. Okay, let me help take some time off your hands.
So as we get the podium for him, I just want to remind us that at a point in the history of our country, very few people knew what WWW meant. Do you remember? Where we've grown in leaps and bounds. At a point in the history of our country, everybody wondered what a mobile phone was. Do you remember? At the point in the history of our country, this thing we all carry about that we buy now for as low as 5 naira was supposed to be for the very rich. So for those of you holding phones, if you have a phone, can I see your hand up? You are the rich people they were talking about. We thank you for allowing we the Mekunos use the phone. And you know, one thing that keeps amazing me is that Nigeria changes by the day. The cell phone, they call it the smartphone. Have you? They call it the smartphone. But have you noticed that sometimes when you put up things on Instagram, you put on something like AGOS at 5, venue, AGOS building, time 5 p.m. Some people still come under it and say, I bet, when are they do this thing and when be the time? It's so, that thing bites me all the time. You know, sometimes you put up a picture of somebody that has died. Oh my God, 3 people died in a bad accident this morning on the long bridge, always that long bridge, on the long bridge, oh my God, and somebody will come and put an advert under it for your breast enlargements. And I start wondering, what is wrong with these people? Then you say, oh, somebody died, and people start liking it. And I wonder what they're liking. Is it the fact that the person died, or the fact that things have changed in Nigeria? Back in the days, you would wake up in the morning, brush your teeth according to Two-Face, wear your clothes, get in your car, go to work, and 6 o'clock you're coming back home. 6 o'clock you're back home. I remember when I got married, my father-in-law told my wife and I that, Binga, whatever you do, from morning till 4 o'clock, go back home. As we were driving back home, I told my wife, hunger will kill 2 of us. So it's not every advice they give you in Nigeria that you listen to. Am I right or right? Hello? Am I right or right? No, because I know I'm saying the truth, sir. But how many of you have ever been in a plane and you've had mad turbulence? Let me see if it's only me. Mad turbulence. Anybody? Okay, God bless you, Daddy. A couple of years ago, I was very mad turbulent, so that you decide, well, let me just confess my sins to God and this is it. This couple were in this plane and the plane was flying from Abuja to Lagos and the pilot started, ladies and gentlemen, we shall be cruising at an altitude of whatever feet, whatever, and in 45 minutes we'll be landing in the beautiful city of Lagos. Please fasten your seatbelt, put off your cell phones, and all of a sudden they started, yeah! That is the worst sound you can hear in a plane. When they shouted, yeah, the plane started shaking. So the man started confessing, God, forgive me, oh. Pilot came. The man sitting beside his wife, God, forgive me, oh. Our neighbor's wife, forgive me, God. The wife said, she really told us to confess. God, forgive me, oh, hey, God. My wife's friend, oh. The wife said, He said, see, this is between me and God. I don't want to die without confessing my sin. He kept confessing and confessing. And all of a sudden, the madam too started, God, forgive me. Our houseboy, the husband said, what? He said, well, God, leave me alone. This is between God and I. Then after like 5 minutes of confession, the pilot comes back. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry about the turbulence. Everything is okay now. This plane is no longer going to crash. The husband shouted, you must crash it. You must crash and kill all of us because this can't be the same again. Ladies and gentlemen, I now leave you in the hands of our very, very capable guests. I thought you were going to say artists. Thank you, Bega. The chairman of the occasion and the special guest of honor, both in absentia. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm indeed happy to be in your presence. Like something I love to do. I think that I'm older than most people here. But I can find that at least 2 or 3 persons that I know are older than myself. I can see the gray beard there. But there is somebody in the house who is 84 years old. If there is anyone here that's over 84 years old, she will just signify. So I can also specially recognize you. If you are not, I'm going to use him as a 82. Okay. I'm going to use him as a point of contact to greet you all. I'm talking about Chief Tunde Kolawole. We belong to the same church, just as Brother Tulu Omoni, who invited all of us here. Benga, on that note of that funny joke that can cause disruption between family life and all kinds of things, I think we should just start. First, I must congratulate the entire members of AGOS. When I arrived here, the first thing I did was the first person I ran into. I said, do you belong here? He said, yes. I said, okay, tell me, what is the correct pronunciation of this name? AGOS. Is it AGOS, or it can be anything? So he said AGOS. So I hope I'm getting it right. I must congratulate the entire members of AGOS on this anniversary of its 5th year of founding. To some, 5 years may not count for much in terms of landmark anniversaries. But to those who are given to taking stock of events, both at home and abroad, mankind has had quite a lot to contend with in the last 60 months. With dire consequences for the global economy and businesses in particular,
just inclusive. Just one of such developments resonates with us as business leaders in a manner that is numbing and confounding. 5 years ago, the Naira exchanged for about 560 Naira, which even as at that time was bad enough. One of its type, volatility of a peculiar foreign exchange market is such that if your business is still a going concern today, it is probably 1 of 10 that have gone down and out or in comatose. That suggests that you have something to show for resilience, or at least be thankful for. I rejoice with you, and indeed I am glad to be in your celebratory company. The invitation to play this role at this event specifically requested that I leverage on my stewardship in Punch newspapers, working with my team and making a brand of it as a case study in speaking to the chosen anniversary theme of building a global brand. My task will have been made easier by deploying slides to tell the story of the developmental signposts. But it occurred to me that Friday evenings are happy hours for business leaders in our nest of the global wood, and not a time for graphs and figures. It is better to narrativize the relevant events, as I shall proceed to do. Punch has had a straight run of 50 years in newspaper publishing, only temporarily truncated by military hooligans in 3 different closure spells of 3 months, 6 months, and 9 months. It started out as a weekly newspaper, the Sunday Punch, with a maiden edition on March 4, 1973. I was lucky to find a copy of that first edition of the Punch, Sunday Punch, and I think I handed it over to somebody. It would be nice if you can put it on slide for everybody to see. I do not know how many people here are consciously alive at that point in time, in 1973. Between 1973 and now, you have 50 years. So those who are below 50 years, well, maybe it's something for you to look at. Yeah. Its immediate success and acceptance by the buyers and users for marketing purposes must have lured it into the challenging terrain of daily publishing to compete with the newspaper behemoth of the time, the Daily Times, on November 1, 1976. That was a time when the Daily Times was a generic name for newspapers in Nigeria. From then on till today, the Punch continues to fulfill the purpose of its creation, becoming consistently relevant in the debates and cares for the good of man. Its capacity to do so and more has been further enhanced by the advancement in information dissemination, electronic transmission through the internet and social media platforms, positioning it on the same pedestal of availability with its peers and competition without let or hindrance, subject to the rules and laws of engagement governing such operations. Now, whether the Punch has transited over the years from being just a local product of professional journalism practice to a brand in the same industry and geographical locality is the easier question to answer. I won't answer it. I hope that some other people who have followed the evolution of the Punch over time are in a better position to do so. The tougher one is if it had become a global brand. It is useful to quickly remind ourselves that we are dealing with the noun form of the word brand, simply defined as a type of product manufactured by a particular company under a particular name. The more useful definition for our purpose is that provided by Oxford, which says it is a particular identity or image regarded as an asset, a particular type or kind of something. That's the beginning of it all. So the whole journey to arriving at the global level, the global plane, begins with conceptualizing, knowing what you want to do right from the beginning. The verb form will be applied for both positive and negative ends, as you will find in marking out or describing someone or something as having a particular bad or shameful quality. Somebody is branded a drug addict. Somebody is branded a criminal. Somebody is branded a terrorist. Somebody is branded all kinds of things. So it's also a kind of branding. And in that sense, it is in the negative form. But I thought I should just talk about it so we know what we are dealing with. Interestingly, Oxford adds a somewhat unsolicited note to it all. I was amused when I saw it. When I was checking it up, and I found this one. It says, and I quote, "It takes a long time to build a brand." If you check the first Oxford Concise Dictionary, you'll find it there. You can do so on your phone if you have the app on your phone. And I saw it. I was shocked, so to speak, that it didn't have to go that far, but it went that far to say that it takes a long time to build a brand. And I was happy that it was there. In other words, building a brand, a global brand, is not a sprint, but a marathon. It is a race that hardly ends for as long as the product or service remains an ongoing item and in demand by consumers. However, there are products and there are products. Just as well, there are brands successful in their own rights by every barometer of product success, but do not necessarily advance to the global plane. It doesn't suggest that they won't do well or they won't succeed. They may just not be bothered about getting on the global plane. They may just be a success locally and escape with all the parameters of measuring success. They may have all the money and have all the influence and all of those things, and they may just choose to remain local. There's nothing wrong with it, but we're dealing with building a global brand. From the foregoing, a global brand, either a product or service, flows from the assumption of a deliberate effort on the part of its owners or promoters to make it available or accessible beyond the confines of its geographical origin and transcending all borders, particularly those of culture and environmental relevance. This will appear to put some superior emphasis on the issue of availability. But why would they want to make a product or service available in the first instance? The answer lies in purpose. The purpose could be an expansionist agenda, which in most cases it is, or as bizarre as an effort to muzzle competition, or both. I've read about companies that will promote a product just to be in competition with another product, and with the aim of knocking it out of business. The purpose could be an expansionist agenda, just like I said, which in most cases it is, or as bizarre as an effort to muzzle competition, or both. There was a time we in the Punch were also sponsoring a product just to fight off competition from somewhere else. There was a time we had the Labour Punch, we had the Financial Punch, we had the Evening Punch, and then I think there was another one, We floated those newspapers for certain reasons. But I'd rather just leave it at that. Yeah, that is the first edition of the Punch. And simply says hello. And you remember this kind of thing. Well, I'll talk about it shortly. Say, I'm Cherry, take me home, whatever.
Sunday guy.
Yeah, and all kinds of things there. Hello. That's the kind of thing. That was what the Punch looked like in the beginning. Now, every other effort aimed at globalizing the brand must align with the purpose. The purpose remains in focus at all times. It may be reviewed or tinkered with as the circumstances demand and in response to unforeseen developments. I do not intend to bore you with trite stuff, but the recourse to it, even if minimally applied, cannot be outrightly avoided. As you all know, there is a plethora of business literature on the internet from various search engines on the subject of building or development of a global brand, saying essentially the same things in different words. The version I found in ChatGPT covers the field in a concise manner and is fit for purpose here. I crave your indulgence, collective indulgence, to call it accordingly. AGOS. In an increasingly interconnected world, building a global brand has become a paramount goal for companies seeking to expand their reach and influence. A global brand is more than just a logo or a product. It's a powerful symbol that transcends borders and cultures. This essay explores the strategies and challenges involved in creating and nurturing global brands. Then it goes to strategies for building global brands. 1, consistency. Consistency. You can't push out a product today, run it for 2 years, even for 5 years, and after 5 years, it's out of reach, it's out of the market, it's no longer available. Nature abhors a vacuum. One product will come up, somebody will come up with something else to fill the lacuna. And so, the other product, the other product will just go into extinction. People will take it out of their recording and they may not remember it again. I remember those days we had, when we were growing up, we had Soft and we had Omo. I don't know how many people will remember here, but we had those things. Canoe came later. The canoes of the world are the ones that drew Omo and Soft out of competition. Omo and Soft used to be the generic name for detergents at that point in time. It is the same thing that happened to Lux. Lux had another one then. It was Lux and No. All those ones came later. Imperial Leather came. They were the immediate competition after the reign of Lux. There was one. He has one name, S something. No. Lux and one other. If anybody comes up with the name, I'll confirm it. Lux was the generic name for bathing soap at that point in time. But where is Lux today? I don't know who has seen the last tablet of soap of Lux. You used one this morning. But is it still as global? Not as Lux again. Okay, thank you very much. So that's the kind of thing we are talking about. Consistency. It has to be available, it has to be there. You don't just tease people with the product and they fall in love with it, and the next time they go to the supermarket, it's no longer available. You can't find it in the market. Those ones can't make it to the global plane. A key strategy is maintaining consistency across all touch points. From logos and color schemes to messaging and customer experience, uniformity ensures that a brand's identity remains recognizable across different countries and markets. Cultural sensitivity. While consistency is crucial, it's equally important to be culturally sensitive. Understanding local customs, languages, and traditions can help a brand adapt its messaging and products to resonate with specific audiences. Adaptation. Global brands must be willing to adapt while staying true to their core values. This often means customizing products, marketing strategies, and distribution channels to suit local preferences and regulations. Quality and innovation. Building a global brand is impossible without consistently delivering high-quality products and staying innovative. Consumers worldwide expect excellence, and a brand's reputation hinges on this. Then leveraging technology. The digital age offers unprecedented opportunities for global brand building. Social media, e-commerce, and digital advertising can help companies reach a global audience more efficiently than ever before. As a matter of fact, if you are starting out on anything, product or service, and you are not available on the internet, you have just not started at all. What used to cost so much money to acquire and to take advantage of, it's just available to you. So if you want to get on the global plane, you are still not there, even right from the onset, then you don't have that dream of getting to the global plane. Partnerships and collaborations. Collaborations with local influencers or strategic partnerships can be a smart way to gain credibility and access new markets. It also shows respect for local expertise. And then it goes on to deal with challenges in building global brands. Cultural differences. Adapting to diverse cultures while maintaining a brand's identity can be challenging. Misunderstanding cultural nuances can lead to missteps and brand damage. If you name your product, give it a name. In your own climb, it means something else, it means something good. And then you take that name to another climb, it will mean something else. I ran into trouble when I was younger, and I was more rascally. I'm sure you may take me up and say, are you still rascally? If I said I was more rascally then. So somebody told me something in Igbo language. I said I should go and tell it to somebody else. You know. And in my own culture, it meant something good. You know, it was like a name. I won't say it. You know, it was like a name. When you pronounce it in my culture, it sounds like a name, and it's a name. But in Igbo language, it means something else. So I was smart enough to say, you tell me what it means, and I'll tell you if I'm going to be able to do so. If I'm not able to do so, I'll tell you why. But if you want to test my courage, you tell me the meaning, and I'll show you the kind of courage that I have. The person told me the meaning, and I walked up to the lady and pronounced it. Then she looked at me. I said, Demola, I don't know why you said that, but don't, who taught you that one? Who told you that kind of thing? Don't say it again, but I won't tell you what it means. Those who are given to such things will have an idea of what I'm talking about. Yeah. So, cultural differences. Adapting to diverse cultures while maintaining a brand's identity can be challenging. Misunderstanding cultural nuances can lead to missteps and brand damage. You remember some time ago when Friesland, I think the manufacturers of one milk product, I forgot the name of the milk.
3 Crown.
Huh?
3 Crown milk.
3 Crown or something.
3 Crown.
And
Thick milk.
it was during the celebration of Easter or something. There was a celebration. And then they came up with a campaign that had blood flowing from somewhere. And then they referred to it as the blood of Jesus or blood of something. And then the Christians took umbrage. And they came up with all kinds of campaign, with all kinds of agitation, and they were even taking it to the level of saying all Christians should boycott that product and things like that. So you have to be very careful in dealing with the issues of cultural differences. Regulatory hurdles, navigating the legal and regulatory landscapes in different countries can be complex. Each market may have unique requirements for product labeling, safety standards, and advertising. I used to know the story of how Japan entered the American auto market. It took a lot of effort before Japanese vehicles, cars, were allowed into America. They came up with all kinds of standards. You have to do so, you have to do this, you have to do so. It took Toyota a long time to get to America because they knew that once it got there, it would probably knock out the local products that Toyota was attempting to deal with. So they came up with all kinds of things. Your bumper must be at the level, you must shoot out to one point, you must have all kinds of things. But Japan just went ahead and met all those regulatory demands, and they got into America, and it was a boom. And I think it still remains so till today. Competition. The global marketplace is highly competitive. Entering new markets often means going head to head with established local and international competitors. All right? Communication. In the regard of competition, one area that had done something substantial of recent is the Nigerian arts. I'm talking about a part of it. That's the music industry. When I was growing up, I had piles and piles of record albums. I think they probably would number about 125 or 128. Each time there was a new music in town, and I'm talking about Western music, more so even from the American climb, the Michael Jacksons of the world, Jimmy Beaumont, Kool and the Gang, all those stuff. Then they had no competition in this environment. You are either following that genre of music or you are not there at all. I will buy 2 albums, I'll keep one for parties, and then keep one in reserve. Should in case I lose one, I will still have another copy at home. And it went on for a long time. The Commodores and all of those things, Eric Gale, and we were just inundated. We were culturally, we were under some kind of cultural give me the word for it. Enslavement. And it became something that was almost like an epidemic. It went on for a long time, on and on and on and on. Nigerian music was, hardly played anywhere. It didn't make any waves. If Nigerian music was played anywhere, it was because of Nigerians who took that music to that time, and it was difficult for those Americans and other people, the Westerners, to adjust themselves to our rhythm. It was difficult for them. But in the last 10 years, look at the things that have happened. I was in one departmental store in London one evening, and I heard the music of Davido. At another time, I had another music from Wizkid, and the thing is all over the place now. You will hardly find record or whatever of any other foreign artist making waves in Nigeria. Those young men have succeeded in taking that brand to the global plane, and they have chased out competition from the other parts of the world, the advanced part of the world. It's something to rejoice about. I've never seen anything like that of recent. They have made an impact, and it's playing out. They are winning awards, even at global levels. What's the name of the other guy? Burna Boy, all of them. And they keep making waves. That's the kind of thing we're talking about. Effective communication across languages and cultural boundaries can be tricky. Misinterpretation or translation errors can lead to misunderstandings or offense. Then global economic and political factors, economic downturns, trade disputes, or political instability in a region can impact a brand's performance and image. Those issues are not new in our environment. Some winning companies that set out to really do good business and do good have been muzzled out of their businesses because of the kind of thing we're experiencing in this environment. How do you deal with a situation where you can't even plan ahead, a year ahead, and the dollar is something to contend with? Ethical and social responsibility. Global brands are under scrutiny for their ethical and social and damage the brand's reputation. If you go and export some medicines, into some climes, you almost be imprisoned for bringing in something that's akin to poison. There are standards you have to go through. It's either you meet their standards or you don't put those products there, so you can't compete. Building a global brand is a complex, multifaceted task that demands a combination of strategic planning, cultural sensitivity, adaptability, and innovation. While challenges abound, the rewards are significant. Successful global brands enjoy widespread recognition, a customer loyalty, and increased market share. In an ever-shrinking world, the ability to create a brand that resonates across cultures and borders is a powerful tool for companies seeking to thrive in the global marketplace. There are also the challenges of sustainability, global best practices, and compliance with governance regimes in the different economies. Enough of theories. Let me return to the Punch experience over a 50-year span as a case study and attempt to locate how these factors are played out in the various stages of its brand evolution. That's what I was asked to come here to do. The concept of the Punch newspaper that hit the newsstands in 1973 was fashioned after the popular tabloids of the British press, featuring screaming cover headlines and a larger than usual photograph to go with it. That's it. Usually of a girl showing off on her physical endowment, understandably so. That was a time of life in Nigeria when life was good. Money wasn't too difficult to come by. The national mood must have recommended the concept of a largely entertaining newspaper, catering to the not too serious issues of life, as it were. It also featured popular columns that made light of government failings and the human rights abuses of the era. It was a welcome alternative to the hard news, general interest offering of the dominant newspaper of the day, the Daily Times, and its Sunday edition. The daily edition was introduced to the market on November 1, 1976, with a different concept from its forerunner. It was strong in use and very critical of the military government. It retained some of the entertainment features of the Sunday edition, creating what turned out to be a unique selling item, famously known as the page 3 girl. I'm sure you will remember it. The page was withdrawn and had since rested in peace, owing to endless complaints and agitation by religious purists who were loyal buyers of the paper but could not stand the praying grin of beautiful babes welcoming them to our world every blessed morning. The fear of the customer is the beginning of business wisdom. You saw how that played out. When Pond came out, it came out with something like this. And that ran from March 1973 up until November 1, 1976, when the daily edition of the Punch came out. When the daily edition came out, they couldn't feature this girl or any girl on page 1. They created a space for it on page 3, a whole page, so that every day you have a photograph of a girl, either chesting out or bottoming out, doing something, you know, and the readers just couldn't cope with it. You know, after a while, they started complaining and all of those things. Punch was proving tough at the time, and no, it wasn't going to, you know, succumb to such challenges. It wasn't going to withdraw the page 3 girl, but reason prevailed because it was going to affect advert revenue, and page 3 girl had to be pulled. That is being sensitive, you know, to your environment, to your culture. If you don't do that kind of thing and you ignore such things, you are not likely to make it to the global plane. Now, the page 3 girl was withdrawn and had since rested in peace, owing to, I think I've taken care of that. So that teaches us something about customer superiority. Between then and now, the Punch had undergone a full cycle of transformation to a genre of the serious newspaper, with a bent for heavy reportage of business, politics, governance, the various phases of society, and all the crimes associated with exponential population growth in the face of worsening poverty and standards of living. It has remained in the forefront of critical advocacy for the cause of good governance, human rights, and dignity. Indeed, it is in this particular area that the Punch had distinguished itself, leveraging that strength for huge returns from publication and advertisement sales, which were plowed into strategic infrastructural development in the crucial areas of the company's operations, not leaving out the human capital. Things have changed. It was easy to make money in Nigeria then, in the 70s. There was money virtually on the streets everywhere. That is the truth. That is just the truth. And so it was easy for anybody at that time, you know. You didn't find anything too serious to attend to. You didn't find too many things to challenge government about. There was even the Udoji Award, which brought television sets to many homes, almost all homes in Nigeria, and all kinds of things. And we're just spending money as if, you know, we're getting to the end of it. So there was no serious media agitation. But things have changed over time, so we have to adapt. Imagine if the Punch was still publishing this kind of thing today, how many people live with it, who buy it? Imagine if you are still doing that kind of thing, pay 3 get, I'm Cherry, you may take me home. To do what? You know, learn about your love life and the stars. Now, somebody will publish that kind of thing and think that people will buy the paper, nobody will buy it. So we have to change focus. That is also trying to explain changes in your culture, changes in your environment, you know, circumstantial developments, and you have to react to those things. If you don't, you will be the worse for it. Now, this non-compromising advocacy principle and character of the newspaper had its cost in near tragic encounters with government agents under the various military regimes. It was somewhere on this road, this Adeniyi Jones, that Abacha's state murder squad was outmaneuvered in a death chase after the company's chairman then, Chief Ajibola Ogushola, on the 3rd mainland bridge. Not done, the company and its titles were proscribed by decree at the time, deproscribed on the strength of the intervention from external powers, only to be shot again for the longest spell. That was around the period that late Ibro was shot, and it affected his eye, and it created a problem for him till he died. He was shot on that bridge, that Falomo bridge, one Friday afternoon. I think about 5 days after, our chairman then, Chief Ajibola Ogushola, used to live off Adeniyi Jones, I think about 3 minutes drive from here. And he was coming home as he approached the 3rd mainland bridge. The driver, who used to be a smoked soldier, was smart enough to notice that they were being followed by about 5 men in a Peugeot 504, 505, the long one, and they chased after him. He was in a Volvo. They chased after him right through in the traffic and everything up to this point. When he got to the junction there, Adeniyi Jones, I think there were about some cars between them. He turned left instead of going home. He didn't want to go home. He turned left, to go back into town. When he got to the junction, they didn't know where he went to. He followed the right path. Somebody must have told them that he lived in that part of town. So they just followed that road, took the right turn at the junction there. He took the left turn, and that was how he escaped it. So, all of these tribulations were not enough to break our willpower and capitulate. At a point, we took the government to court and got damages awarded against the federal government at the Court of First Instance, the Federal High Court in Lagos. Government challenged the judgment at the Court of Appeal, which upheld the decision of the lower court. Dissatisfied, government appealed to the Supreme Court, which also ruled in our favor. All of this rigmarole took about 30 years. Up till this moment, Punch is yet to be paid the 25 million naira awarded against the tortfeasors. Even the last government of Buhari were back in court again in the Supreme Court to, file certain things to compel them to pay the money. How many people?
Plus interest?
Yeah, plus interest. How many people can take the courage to fight that long, especially where business is involved? There are all kinds of things that they did, who are not favored with adverts. Government institutions were instructed not to place adverts in the Punch and all of those things. But in spite of all of that, we had a discerning reading public, and they supported us all through. The positive side of it all is that the Punch character of resilience and dogged pursuit of justice in the face of threats to our continued existence have been molded unknowingly by its persecutors. And the newspaper world had taken notice of a newspaper in Nigeria called The Punch. It provided all the fillip required to break forth in the global blue. I find it appropriate to mention some of the milestones of our evolutionary journey, not in exercise of any bragging rights, which is not in our character, but to share our experiences with you as requested. 1, for upwards of 20-something years until today, Punch had remained the highest selling of all newspapers in the land. 2, it has the largest web offset color printing capacity in the land and one of the first 3 in Africa. Our headquarters office on kilometer 14 Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, christened Punch Place, standing on a 10 hectares terra firma, is a reference point in corporate statement, visibility, and the future in focus. It has 2 satellite printing installations in Abuja and Port Harcourt to facilitate early arrival at the newsstands in the geopolitical zones. It has ongoing partnerships with international organizations like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, for example. Will they want to do business with unequal partners? Will they want to plow their millions of dollars into a concern that cannot adequately project what they want to do, especially on health matters? Now, it is the first to publish a complete e-paper, as you will find with the print edition. We had to pull it at the time. We mounted a paywall. We thought it was successful enough at that point in time, and that people would be willing to pay for it. But I think the main problem was that we had issues with the payment structure. It was cumbersome somehow. It's not as easy as it is today. You know, just get to somewhere, put in your PIN and all of those things, and then you are on. You have done your subscription. But at that point in time, it wasn't that easy, and it was costing a lot of money, so we had to pull it. But we still have that presence there. I was still happy to recognize all of the time and acknowledge all of the time that Punch was the first to do it before any other paper in this time, and indeed before so many papers in Africa. On the digital plane, if you go to the ranking machine, a similar web, that is the most popular now and the most reliable. Punch is the #1 quality digital news publisher in Nigeria. All websites in Nigeria were ranked. You know, those in the first categories are Google, Yahoo, Instagram, and all of those things. But only 5 newspapers are mentioned in that ranking of newspapers in Nigeria. And of the 5 newspapers, Punch is #1. So if you go punchng.com, you will find us there. In the entire ranking, our figure is 24. We're ranked number 24. Vanguard is ranked number 34. ThisDayLive.com is ranked number 260. DailyTrust.com is ranked number 167. The Nation Online NG.net is ranked number 106. In the country rank, Punch NG, that was as at October 25. That was 2 days ago. The ranking in July were number 30. That means we have even moved up a bit to number 24. It's the only Nigerian newspaper among the top 25 websites in Nigeria. Most of the leading websites are foreign, like Google, Yahoo, Instagram, etc. The second highly ranked newspaper, Vanguard, is number 34. Punch is also a major news platform on social media. Twitter, 6.4 million followers. Facebook, 4.4 million followers. Instagram, 1.1 million followers. Punch videos, over 80 million views in its first year. Now, Punch staff are also not left out. Punch staff are the highest paid in the industry here, and I can challenge anybody to contradict that claim. As a matter of fact, when we're trying to do something about staff remuneration and stuff, we took cognizance of what was going on in the banks. We established the entry level at the banks, and I said that the Punch staff should not earn anything below at the entry level, below what is earned in the banks at the entry level. And at the point in time, I think we were about 30,000 naira ahead of them, of any bank in Nigeria at their entry level. One more point, and that is crucial. Punch is a 100% compliant taxpayer. That is very rare in an environment of tax avoidance and dodging. Don't think that we are stupid by not traveling the popular road and cutting corners. We realized early enough that tax could be weaponized by the powers that be to create problems for those not in their good books. The government was not patronizing us with adverts, all kinds of things, odds were mounted against us. And for about 8 years, I remember those years of boom, we were paying tax close to 1 billion naira on a yearly basis. There's no newspaper in Nigeria that paid 400 billion naira. We were waiting for a fight, so that we could expose these figures. But I think they cleverly avoided that fight. Yeah, that's also good. In the doing of your business, you must bear in mind that anything can be used against you. Tax is a strong weapon that can be used against you. And that's why government will not find us faulty at any point. And so we were left alone. At the point, I remember one day I called the chairman they used to have, chairman, yes. At one point, they were denying us adverts because it's a government agency and things like that, and they didn't want to play ball. I got his number and called him. I told him, I said, I find your adverts in this day, I find your adverts in Ghana. I am asking you, go and check the books and ask your officials to tell you how much do those organizations pay a tax on a yearly basis. And if Punch is not paying double what they are paying, then don't give us any advert. The following week, they gave us 2 pages. And they've not stopped since. Yes. So we use that to make a point. In summary, the following points stick out as guiding principles in making a pathway for your products and services as you aim for the ultimate global platform. Always align your company's activities with the business purpose. There's a purpose for which you created a company. There's a purpose for which you created a product. You must always align your activities with that purpose. Don't let it be in, one moving in this direction, another moving in another direction. It is not good for the evolution of the product and the services and also your company. Keep the goal in focus at all times, even in the face of uncertainties, challenges, and volatility, no matter how daunting. A lot of people will be wondering why Punch is not in television. It's not that we do not have the resources to do it, but we just thought it's not what we need at this point in time. And in any case, you are not likely to make the money from it. It's good for ego runs, massaging your ego and things like that. But for real business, the economics of it and the potentials of making profit, it is not just there yet in Nigeria. What the others are doing, I don't want to talk about it there. I don't want to demarket any competitor or any product. Embrace global best practices. Embrace global best practices. Whatever you consider to be best practices anywhere in the world, try as much as possible to run your organizations and build your products around those best practices. Apply the appropriate technologies at all times to make your business smarter and thereby save costs. Be on the right side of both the relevant local and international laws governing the doing of your business at all times. We do a lot of cutting corners here. And that's why most businesses in Nigeria cannot survive in some other climes where they are serious about laws and rules that must be obeyed. Every other thing, we want to bring in goods from the ports and looking for how to drive people so that you can bring them in, you can reduce the tariff you are supposed to pay on it and all of those things. They are not helpful at all. You can get away with them in this environment, but in some other environment, you will be in dire straits for it, and it can create problems for you. Believe in your ability to be the best anywhere in the world. Once again, congratulations on your 5th anniversary. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Osman sir. I'm sure you have one or two questions to ask the guest speaker before so you can sit down. Because I'm not sure AGOS will be able to afford him standing for 1 minute. It's not as if maybe.
It's okay.
Yes, sir. Mr. Gary.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Yusuf Akewi. I'm a media consultant. Sir, I would like to ask you, I remember very well why you actually started looking at the job. You said some of the periods punch were out of circulation, like for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. Okay. For the one of 9 months, looking at some of the things that happen to companies when they are out of circle, out of business for that long, 9 months, how was Punch able to come back strong after that 9 months, vis-a-vis when you are building your brand, you went out of business for that long, and coming back again, still maintain your status? I was Punch able to galvanize and also still. I was Punch able to galvanize and also still maintain the status in business at that point. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I thought of it when I was preparing this short thing, and I felt that in a Friday evening I shouldn't bore you with the details, but that's a very, very relevant one. I was in the thick of it, so I can't forget all that we went through. I didn't list Babangida's first closure, which was just for about 9 days. After that first closure, it even happened when I was out of Nigeria. I was in somewhere in Brazil they call Cocovado, and I was enjoying my holiday. So I got a call that something had happened. My deputy, Chris Mama, was the one that was held and detained for about 30-something days. The Punch itself was sealed and seen for about 9 days. But Chris Mama was held in the Gulag in Apapa under the control of one major, this notorious army officer, I've forgotten his name now. Major Omenka. Frank, yes, I remember. After that experience, they came back again for another 3 months. And then we got the wiser for it. We knew that there was not going to be an end to it. What they were asking for, we were not prepared to do. We were not prepared to go beg anybody because we didn't commit any wrong. We were prepared to just take them up in the court and then live by the consequences of our decision. It came after 3 months, and I think with the intervention of Britain and America, Britain in particular, I think these are confidential things, but I can talk about it now. Somebody called me from the British High Commission and said, you are the editor, come over. So I went to see that. I think I was even general manager then. I went to see one Dr. Philip something, you know. He was the senior information secretary at that point in time. I think we can leave this out, but I'll talk about it. And then I had a meeting with him, and he talked about what was being done, what efforts they were making, Britain and America, you know, to plead on our behalf, and do all of those things and get the Punch reopened. So, then said, in the next 24, 30 hours, the company will be opened. I thought, what the hell does this guy, this foreigner, have to do with the reopening of the Punch? It was later I got to know the story, to hear the story of what transpired. That they were just given the instruction that you let these people go, or you be prepared to face the consequences. So they reopened the Punch within that time frame. Now I'm coming nearer to your question. After 3 months, they came again for 6 months. By the time they came for another round of 6 months, we had mastered the art of what to do at any time the soldiers come in to invade our premises. We have mastered the art of packing our checkbooks in one bag, which will be with the accountant. As soon as you hear that the soldiers are around, just take that bag and escape. We have mastered the art of moving our money from Punch known accounts to some other accounts created for that purpose in the name of owners of the company. So if you wanted to move against the Punch account, you probably wouldn't find anything there. We were still having our money in another account, and we had access to such accounts. Punch had enough money at that point in time to pay all staff. For the first closure, the first round of closure, 3 months. For the second round of closure, 6 months, it was also able to pay every staff, every couple. What we did was just to say, okay, if your leave was due, go on leave. If your leave wasn't even due, because we are sealed now, everybody should go on leave. Once you are done with your leave, stay at home, the company will continue to pay you, and the company paid till the end of it. Yes, I don't know those who heard about the story there. The government was worried. When they came for 9 months, I remember it was the Concorde, they struck first. They struck at the Concorde. I know Concorde is, around the airport area. So a call was made to us in the Punch to forewarn us. By the time the soldiers entered our premises in Onipetesi, all Punch staff were out in the open, waiting for them. They just drove in and met all of us in the open space. And we were wondering, what's going on? Why is the editor? Why is so? Why is so? We just these guys. The editor has just gone out. I walked through them. Where is the GM? Where is everybody? So he's not in the premises, so he's gone home because he came around after 7, around 7:30 in the evening. But Concorde was not that lucky. And then they took over the premises, sealed everything, locked up everywhere. But we also, we have learned the ropes of such invasion and how to deal with such things. One thing you do not do is the presses are sensitive. If you have ink left on your presses and you don't run them regularly, after some time, those cylinders will become stiff and they can create a lot of problem for you. And you remember after we were reopened, 9 months after, it took us only 17 days to return to the market. Yeah, because we found a way of coming in. We'll bring food for the soldiers. We won't give them money. We'll bring food for them. We'll bring drinks for them. We'll buy beer for them. They will get drunk. They will drop their guns here and there and all of those things. We'll ask our boys to go in to run the press. They will run the press just to keep, the cylinders running. So we are doing that almost every fortnight. So our press was intact. By the time we came in, we just had little, maintenance things to do. And then we were able to hit the newsstands. The first copies that came out were very rough. But, the populace, the reading public was quite understanding. And they came to support us with a lot of adverts, even in spite of the roughness of the outcomes. So that was one thing that we did. And then, at a point in time, some of our staff, were leaving. They were joining other companies. They felt, even if they return to this place, we don't know what's going to happen, what's going to befall this company. We lost so many of our good hands at that point in time. But the ones that remained carried on the business. When we were reopened, we didn't beg anybody, we didn't do anything. Because the Punch was paying everybody, every couple. At a point, I think our salaries were reduced by 50% because the business is frustrated. We weren't making money from publication sales. Money was not coming in from adverts, and we're depleting the resources of the company. But we had access to our company. Remember that at the point in time, the punch was even proscribed. Both the titles and the company were proscribed. So it means it was illegal for you to do any business. But thank God for wisdom that we had also outsmarted them, moved our money out of those accounts, and were able to do the things that we needed to do. So, preparation at all times. You must be prepared. You must pay attention to what's going on around you. If they hit you, that kind of government, a military regime hits you, there's no way you will hit back. All you need to do is do all that you can to ensure that your business operations are not frustrated all through, and that you'll be able to come back to do your business for as long as the situation was normalized. That's what happened.
So many questions now. Sorry, there was one there before yours came up. Mr. Betty. I'll come to you, sir. 30 seconds. Don't read the book.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everybody. My name is Kobe Egbedi. Thank you so much, sir, for the presentation. My question, sir, is you talked about the ease of making monies in the 70s, and with the current situation in the country, flippant and inconsistent policies of government, how do you navigate this current economic situation vis-a-vis building a global brand?
Thank you. If you have been in business in Nigeria for quite a while as a company, it should be easy for you to navigate what is going on. We saw the dollar move from, most businesses in Nigeria are dollar-based. Even those who do imports, buying and selling and all of those things, you buy those goods from abroad, you don't buy them with Naira. You convert your Naira to dollar or pounds and send abroad, and they send you, they ship you goods, and then you sell at a rate that will give you profit and all of those things. If you are active in business and you saw the trend over time, you can't be in business in Nigeria and not do a daily or even an hourly monitoring of the foreign exchange market. So if you have had your money all of this while and you are thinking that it was better for you to switch to Naira and you are in business, you want to remain in business, you got it wrong. You got it all wrong. It's something you must monitor on daily basis. If your business is import based, you have no reason not to do that almost 3 times a day. Monitor the exchange rates and then know what to do at any point in time. It was so that even if you don't need some amount of dollar at this point, those of us who don't do business, who just work and earn money. We have not started anything until I couldn't do anything until after I retired. Individually, we had a way of stemming the tide of what we're experiencing now. That if you had some Naira with you, excess Naira that you don't need, don't just keep it in any account. Don't keep it idle. If it's $200 you will buy, or $500 or $1,000, buy and keep. If you bought dollars, let's just say $1,000, when it was 700 Naira or 800 Naira, that's less than 2 months ago. If you are selling it today, what do you do? And even as a company, a company should be able to do better than that and then anticipate what is going on. How do you navigate what is going on now? You either find a way of living with it or you sink with it. But that's a bad one. I don't wish anybody that. But that is the reality. That's what's going on. We all contributed to what is going on now. We watched events unfold. We did all kinds of things. But by the way things are going, you must also be able to read, the lips of government. You must read their body language and know what is likely to happen. Anybody who has money now, who has naira, should be getting ready for a period when there will be government intervention. You know, they will pump some dollars into the market, and then the rate will come down artificially. That's the time to buy. Even if you don't need to buy, that's the time to buy, and then keep it, because you always be able to use it at the time when you can't pay the prevailing rate. I want to believe that we have got ourselves into a situation where even if you throw $10 billion into Nigeria's foreign exchange market, into the money market today, Nigerians will lap it up in one day.
2 hours.
$10 billion. Yeah, so we're in a long run. You see that government wants to do something drastic, or they can't even sustain it. So it's something you have to deal with. You have to think outside the box, look for something else to do. If you can't cope with it, I won't advise anybody to be doing business. You know, have the issue even from the beginning, that you are not going to make any profit on. So you have to rethink your business again and again and again. For everything you do it internationally at the local, at the international level, there's a local alternative. There's a local alternative. There is. You just have to sit down, rethink the business, and work your way through a situation where your exposure to the dollar will be minimal. Very, very minimal. But if you are that exposed, almost at 100% level, then I don't know how you're going to deal with it. Thank you. Yeah.
So, sir, before the next question, I'd just like to introduce the special guest of honor, the Honorable Commissioner for Wealth Creation, Lagos State, Honorable AGOS. I know you have a very busy schedule. Before your remarks, just let's take 1 or 2 questions and take your remarks, sir. I know that some messages are coming in there. Thank you. Yeah. Before Mr. Adewinekon, then Mr. Lara Kibo.
Yeah, my name is Engineer Adewinekon. I'm an engineer and an entrepreneur in business for almost 30 years now. So I could feel what you are talking about. But 2 questions I wanted to ask, taking you back to the topic of the day, global brand. There are these known products in the country who we are giving the thumb up for in terms of global brand status, and that's Alamo. I want to just talk briefly on that. What is the magic that product are be able to do, and it is sustainable? The second one is direct to punch. You give us a beautiful picture of punch, the growth, fantastic. The question is, how are the advent of social media affected punch? Thank you.
Thank you. Let me take the last question first. How has the advent of the social media affected us? First, everybody was destabilized. We thought these are platforms. You don't have to invest any money at all. Just mount something, a blog somewhere. Take 2 or 3 newspapers in the morning, rewrite their stuff, curate stories and all kinds of things, and then mount them on your own platform. So the cost of running their own business is minimal. And you are spending all the money employing reporters, putting all the resources in place, and then paraphernalia of professionals who will do your job for you. But it occurs to us later that the thing to do is to take the fight to them, or also use their platforms to enhance your own business, and that's what's going on. So we then deal with traffic. If you are strong enough, you have a huge traffic on any of those platforms, it will drive adverts to you. And then those adverts, some of them bring dollars. Some of them are paid for in dollars. So what we initially thought was a weakness has become a strength. What we are losing in copy sales, all right? What every newspaper is losing in copy sales. If you have that strength on the social media platforms, you are making times 10 of it using those platforms. That's what has happened. Yeah. Number two question, Alabukun. Alabukun is a local champion. I don't think so. I don't think he's an international champion. I don't think you can get Alabukun outside the shores of Nigeria in the stores. I have not asked for it. I have not tested it. I don't know, but I don't think it's possible. If anybody has anything to the contrary, we can be better enlightened. I don't think so. The way it is packaged and all of those things, it has to pass through all kinds of tests before you can sell that product in those lines. You may be able to get away with it in Nigeria, get away with it in Africa, get away with it. You know the way we do our things. Oh, there's a product in Nigeria, it is called Alabukun. Nobody has attempted to content analyze Alabukun. Nobody has attempted to tell you this is Alabukun comes in sachets, and nobody will tell you don't take more than 4 sachets in a 24-hour period. All those basic things are there. They are not available in Alabukun, and so it's not going to be. Nobody will allow it in those places that will be sold. You can find them in Nigerian shops, so there is nothing you can't find in Nigerian shops abroad, you know, but it does not mean that those things are allowed in that line. And the ones who will buy the ones you find in those Nigerian shops are Nigerians. So you can't claim that it has international flavor at all. It's not got there. It will go through all kinds of tests, all kinds of things. Even the, what do you call it, the analgesic you buy in Nigeria, what is the name of the popular one? Enzo. Can you sell Enzo in London? Made here. Can you sell it in London? That's the thing. They're not likely to pass all those safety standard tests. They are not likely to do it. And that's why they have not crossed that plane. And they are still existing here. And we consume them, nobody puts us in check. That's the problem. Most of the things we consume here are good for our system. But in some other areas, the thing about them is they don't tell you the limit of dosage. There was a time people were consuming, what's the name of this drink? This local herb, dongoyaro. And it was killing people, it was knocking their liver and intestinal, whatever. Because you soak dongoyaro for 2 or 3 days, umati konkigo, umati gonogo, and then you go there and take 1, 2, or 3 cups in one gulp. And then things were happening until people got, you know, the message that you don't just do anything. Anything that you find that does not have any dosage to it is not safe for consumption. Thank you. So that's for Alabukun. Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, sir. My name is Larry Kimbo. Given the longevity of the Punch brand, and knowing that it is not a publicly listed company, it's privately held, how important is corporate governance, and what types of corporate governance structures did you put in place to deliver the kind of brand that we see today? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Yes, Punch is 100% owned by family, as the Apodering family. No, let me take that back. I think it's 88.8% owned by the Abodere family. There are some other shareholders who are not members of the family. There is the Rotimi Williams family. There is Forsyth. Rotimi Williams died. Forsyth died. Dr. Harry also died. There are also owners. And who else? And my humble self. But 80% ownership, I mean, is something that guarantees you everything. You can almost do anything and get away with it. If they don't want you on their board, you can't get on the board. But right from inception, no member of the owner family has become MD of the company. When I was MD of the company, 2 members of the family were executive directors, but they had to leave. I won't give the details. Because at a point in time, I had to insist that the company would either keep me, in place and allow them to move out, or keep those directors, and then I would leave. And the board met and took a decision that no, we won't do that. That position is reserved for professionals. That the best you can get in the company, the position of chairman is reserved for the family. All right, as you have followed. Ulu Abodere, when he died, Chief Ulu Abodere stepped in as chairman. He died, Ajibola Bishola stepped in as chairman and was there for 24 years. And then he handed over to Wale Abodere. Wale Abodere died, and then Wale Abodere's younger person, sister, Angela Imoa, stepped into whatever. And so she's the current chairman. So that's the kind of structure you have in place. The chairmanship is reserved for the family. The executive positions are reserved for non-family members. That's something to start with. You hardly find that in most companies. Even companies that are bigger, with higher turnovers than the Punch, where you expect that kind of strict governance structure to be in place. I can mention 2 or 3 or 4 banks to you where you have that kind of thing, that is their children are working and take over. They spend their time, their tenure, move on, and then the next person is one member from the family. That has worked very well for the Punch. Strictly is the professionals that are in management. You won't find any family member in management. There was a time attempts were made to even begin to bring children or the family owners, their children, their second generation children, their third generation now, about their generation, their children, and then their own children. They wanted to start bringing them into the company. They sat back, the elders in the family sat back and said, no, we're not going to allow that to happen. We are going to ruin this place as it is. So they have a strong governance structure in place. When I was leaving, I was asked, who do you want to, whatever? And I said, it's this man who is executive director. He's the one that should naturally take over from me. And he was made the MD. And he's doing well, he's running the place well. And I am hoping that when he's also retiring, he will be handing over to a non-family member. That's how the place has been sustained to date. Thank you.
The last question. Good evening, everyone. My name is Kunle Ola, social tech entrepreneur. So my question will be more around culture. We spoke about culture in a different way, but I'm looking more into work culture. And I have 2 questions. One of it also will be around somewhere around the story of Punch, the resilience. Now we are in a more, I will always say, it's a more dynamic business environment, also with dynamic workforce. Workforce that includes the Gen Zs, different ballgame. Your set workforce then are different from these new guys. The work culture, the loyalty, dedication, commitment. Why did you stay behind? Why did those other, we're seeing 32 people resign one day. They're gone. We've seen, even banks now, quite a number of the Japa, and they're gone. One time, they just resigned, and they leave, without even facing possibly the kind of things that your organization faced there. Was it culture? That's the first question, as regard resilience. The second one, building a global brand. You're building first from where you are, the country of operation. And then again, we look at it. What's the relationship, brand and culture? Thank you.
Thank you. The first one, you want me to tell you a long story, and I try to avoid it, especially when it concerns me. I joined the Point at a time when the best paper to work for in Nigeria was the Punch. At the initial stage, you walk into the premises, any time of the day, and you're entitled to free food in the canteen. Any drink of your choice. It was deliberate. That was the creation of the current publisher of Vanguard, Uncle Sam Amuka Penno. Yeah. And so it was a place you love to be. Waibu Punch then was able to attract almost the best hands in the industry at the initial stage before the problem started. We were able to manage everything up to the point that Oluwabodere died. And when he died, everything in the Punch almost collapsed. It almost went down. That's another long story. There were loans to be paid, there were bank facilities and all of those things. And his elder brother, Chief Oluwabodere, stepped into the saddle and almost spent a good part of his fortune to keep the place going. But he lost most of the money. Yeah. In circumstances that I would rather not talk about, because there are people involved. So, if you were a part of the beginning, and you now came to a point where it was becoming difficult for the company to live up to its responsibilities, salaries were owed for upwards of 4 months. Of course, in that kind of situation, a lot of people would jump the boat, and they jumped the boat. For me, I just felt, maybe because of the circumstances in which I found myself then, I was living in a free house, living with my brother. I wasn't married at that time. I was living with my brother. My mother gave me her car, and it was even better than the car offered me by the Punch. The Punch offered me a Volkswagen car. My mother gave me a Toyota Corolla. So, and that became a source of problem for me and a source of envy. When the Punch offered me a Volkswagen, I said, no, I won't take it. I won't move from a Volkswagen to. I had a Volkswagen before, early 76, 71D. And I crashed it into those poles at Murtala Mohammed Airport. I was returning from the National Assembly. I was the National Assembly correspondent then. And then it had rained. I dropped one of my friends in New Nigeria, in Ijora, Nika Gedwin. So I was making my way to the office. I came through the airport, and I think I slept off. So the car somersaulted into those poles. You know those poles where you normally will hang flags at that intersection, departure, arrival. There were 3 poles there, clean poles. Then I somersaulted into the middle one, and up till this moment, I wouldn't know how I escaped it, but I had injuries here, I had some here and all of those things, and everybody was rushing from the airport building. Who is the driver of the car? Who drove the car? Who drove the car? I just sat there. Sorry, who are you? So I then, came to my senses. I said, I am so and so. So they took me hospital. We all love to work for the Punch then. It was a place to be. I didn't have challenges. I won't blame those who jump at that point in time. The circumstances may not be, as convenient as mine. I was living in a free house. I was eating free food. I had a car to myself. One of my brothers was abroad, was sending me clothes and all of those things. So I hardly spent my money. And that explained why the first car I bought, a Volkswagen, what is it then? There are two categories, 1500 and 1300. I bought Volkswagen 1500 for 2,760 naira. Yes, I still have the receipt from Volkswagen till today. I'll just look at it and say, what's going on? So that was the car I crashed. When my mother heard about the crash, they said, well, don't go back to that car. Repair it and sell it, come and take money. So if you are in such circumstances, you are likely to empathize with the company. If you are in a situation that you suddenly found that somebody who will take care of all of you, take you to the canteen, feed you free of charge, was having health challenges, Oluwabode had cancer. He died of cancer of, I think somewhere around the pancreas. There is a name they call it. If I remember, I'll tell you. And then he went away, he was in the hospital. That was why we were being owed salaries. Everything, because he would ensure that we get money somehow to pay us and all of those things. But that was important. And we were monitoring his health, the progress he was making, and all the challenges that came with it. One evening, he had that most of the Punch staff had left. Against the advice of the doctors, he left his hospital bed and came home to address us. When we all saw him, most of us broke down in tears because we couldn't recognize him. His hair had fallen off, was looking frail, was looking whiter than black. All those who knew who about there was big, burly, handsome, good-looking guy and everything all over the place. And you suddenly saw him. He entered the room.
He was my boss in National Bank.
Yes, he entered the room and we couldn't recognize him until he then removed his cap and all of those things. And wow. Some of us who were at the meeting made up our minds that we would rather support this man's company. A man who is in this position will support his company and not allow the company to die, no matter what it is. When Concord was floated, I was offered employment as deputy news editor. When the Guardian was floated, I was to be their first head of the Western Bureau to be based in Ibadan. Because Ladebo Nola was my senior in the secondary school, he was in upper six when I was in Form 1. He thought that he could just send me a letter of employment without negotiating salary with me. I took offense and I said, I won't take that kind of thing. He sent 2 other letters. I had 3 letters. I got another offer employment with the Tribune in Ibadan. Felix Adenaike was the MD then, and then he invited me to come and take over the job of somebody. My friend, I was the best man of his wedding. So I said, no, my upbringing will not allow that kind of thing. I won't take your job. Later, Tumashipo Nibalugo also offered me a job to come and be head of his public affairs, whatever, and all of those things. And for so many reasons, which I explained to him at a meeting that he arranged for his house. I remember I drove to his house in my rickety Volkswagen car, and the silencer, was making all the noise. When I got there, I deliberately revved the engine to give that sound. He was living on the junction of Fadiola in that White House. And then he did something I won't ever forget, and it's still in my head. When he invited me, I had a chat with some people that this is what this man has done. What do? I suspect that he wants to give me a job. And I got there, he told me that Shepherd Shoba and Bontola Adeni recommended me to him that he should give me a job. I things like that. He wanted somebody to take that position. And I said, no, I won't take it. But already I'm deputy editor of the Punch, and the only thing you want as a professional journalist is to be able to edit a title. And that if there were no accidents or whatever, I would edit the Punch. And whatever he wanted to offer me, he said all kinds of things. I will give you a house in Ikoyi. I will do so, and do and so. I said, no, don't waste your time. I'm not going to take it. And then the killer Punch. He had this sprawling living room, and at the end of it, the rug was white, all through. He came out in his white setting and all of those things. I said, there's nothing problem with Shifun. Pardon me that I'm breaking you, but that's the best way I can explain it. Okay. We sing Odun Woni, and look at the piano down the hall. The keyboard is gold. I said, yeah, you get it wrong. Everything is not about money. I have given that story to explain my mindset at that point in time, and I told him that this is one of the problems you have with people not staying in your job, not wanting to take this job. We all have the impression that you are proud. Of course, he had given me whiskey to drink. So that was a feeling, and I was able to tell him the sad part and say, I'm not going to take your job, and all of those things. So the real thing was, I was in circumstances that were okay, relatively okay compared with the situation of some of my colleagues in the Punch who left. I stayed behind, and because I believe that and everything is about his interest should be helped. That was why I remained in the Punch. The second one, I think you talked about
brand and culture. Brand and culture.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I think we'll have to have a break now. I understand the commissioner will have to leave shortly, and that he can't leave without giving his remarks. So let's accord him that respect. And so I yield the floor to him. Thank you.
Unfortunately, I don't have a slide here. Neither was I prepared that I was going to give a speech, but I'll just talk about the branding and all, global branding. My name is Akiemi Ajibotafe of the Corporation, Wealth Creation and Employment, Lagos State. Right, AGOS, I know, has been doing this for 5 years. Having a 5-year business in a jet is not a joke. He would have come a long way to sustain the business, so I must give that to him. Alright, we want to talk about branding and all that. Maybe I'll just talk from my ministry, what it's all about, and the affiliation with the global branding and all. When we look at our industry in Nigeria today, we look at students that comes out from university, after the NYS and all, realize that they find it so difficult to get jobs, and how do we go about this? So me as a commissioner, when I came in, I realized that in my ministry we've done a lot of trainings, a lot of empowerment and all, and still we still don't get the best from those people. What do we do? So I have to think outside the box. Can we do something different from what we've been doing in the past? Because we see as students after school, all they think about is japa, and me, I'm against it. What can we do to stop this? After school, they find it so hard to get jobs. They go around places, some get frustrated, and even what their discipline is, it's not what they need to them in school. So I came up with some consultants and said, look, what can we do differently from what we've been doing in the past? And I came up with the idea that, okay, fine, my own agenda, I want to have a strategic, sustainable empowerment. For the post-NYC, I decided to pick 10,000. Okay, I'm going to work in the next 24 months. I want to work on 10,000 beneficiaries. So I picked up 2,000 post-NYC students, and 5,000 artisans, and 3,000 SMEs. So I have to look at the Lagos State team agenda, the 3+,
which is social inclusion, the one the government just added, gender equality, and youth empowerment. So the 2,000 NYC students, with NYC students, what are we going to do? We have to train them after school. So I partner with KPMG, ACP, and some consultants, that's going to handle the HR aspect and all. But what do we do? How do we make them to be impactful in our society? So this is what I intend to do. First of all, we're going to work on our database to get these people. There are a lot of them. From our research, we have over about 30% unemployed and underemployed. So I was like, okay, fine, what do we do? I have to look at the multiple effect of it. That we have to pick them one by one. We can't do it. Even the government can't do it alone. So we have to partner. So these bodies are all working with. There's 2,000. We train them, the HR aspect, and HCP and KPMG. They're going to go through a vigorous training. You can't be KPMG trained and you won't do well. So now I look about the companies. What can we do? Give it back to the society. That this company will be making money on their own. What can you do to put these people? And their excuse is always they're not well employed. They're not well trained. That we can't employ the graduates that come out of the universities in Nigeria. So, okay, fine. What about this way? If we put them through this training and all that, and whatever field they come from, let's give them the best of training, and we give them the role which we pay them. We pay them salary for the period of 6-month training. We give them stipend for their transportation, their maintenance, and all. And after this training, we will then work with you for 3 months, 6 months. We'll still pay them and check the best. If they're not good, we'll take them back from you. So I've had that commitment with some company, which is good. So by doing this, we'll be able to take them out of the street. And we won't just train them and keep them angry. But we must have impact in their lives. So in whichever company or sector they find themselves, they'll be impactful there too. So that's for the post-NYC, and that is aligned with the global branding. So if we can get them good jobs here in Nigeria, I don't think they will think of going to Japan. Because when you go to Japan, what happens to these people? The jobs they do is so embarrassing. They're not happy doing this. So as a society, what can we do to keep our people to stay put in this country? Some of them after school, they get frustrated, they get tired and all. What can we do to keep these people? So this is one of the things we put together to keep them afloat and let them have work in this country. So about the artisans, there's some that, the language working, they want to come out from their boss and say, look, I want to be independent, I want to start my own thing. They don't get empowerment. They don't even know what they do. So what we're doing about the artisans is, okay, we're going to have a website, we train them for a period of time. After this training, they will, let's say for instance, we're picking a plumber. So anywhere from the comfort zones, you can just go to the internet or to an app and pick that I need a plumber from Lagos State, and we're able to give you. Because this artist will go through a certain training to put them through their qualification, and they'll be certified. And we will vet their biodata and all that, get that information. So when you give them a job, you know that, look, I'm giving a job to somebody from Lagos State, somebody that's been recommended from Lagos State. So you have that comfort. So from your comfort zone, you can pick a plumber, a carpenter, a welder, or anywhere you are. So this training, so we're going to train about 5,000 of them, and at the same time empower them. So it's going to be a multiply effect, So 5,000 are training, we're expecting that you are coming out, and after whatever has invested on you, we expect you to train 10 people in a year. So now in the next 2 years, we're expecting about 100,000 that were, from that 5,000 first training. So about the SMEs too, we have plans on ground, how we're going to train the 3,000 of the SMEs, whatever field you find yourself, be it soap making, leather making, and also all these things are things we want to put together, how to keep our people not to leave this country. So how do we make this country a better one? A global branding, it has to start from home. So that's why we said, look, we must put all these two together so that we can get the best out of these people. And they complain about having locations that, okay, like the SMEs, that where can they have trainings, if they have things to sell, where can they showcase this? Right now, Lagos State is having a leather hub, which we're building somewhere in Maturi, Mushi.
We put it through, so anything that has to do with leather, you come here, you're going to sell leather, or you have an idea about a shoe you want to make, you bring it there, put it together. So we're looking at other hubs too. ICT, training, ICT hub, we're going to have that one too. The hardware hub, wood and furniture, we put that thing in place. So these are the things we put together to have a better society. So now when we talk about having a better society, we have to look inward, look to our people. When we look at them, they are all frustrated. Most of them are frustrated. They got into drugs and all that. How do we take these people from the streets? You know, these are the things we need to put in place. We're not just going to do this on the peripherals. We're going down the grassroots to pick them. And we're working with CDAs and CDCs so that they'll be able to recommend where these people are. Please go to this place. This is where we have them taking drugs. This is where we have our serious boys and girls and more. So it's all our effort. We all have to work together. So we need your help. Whatever idea you have, you can always knock on my door. How do we help the society? It's everybody's thing. So in the short while, I won't be able to talk much about it because I have another meeting too. Please, I'm sorry, I won't be able to take any questions for now, please, because I have another appointment and I just have to make this speech. So thank you very much.
Honorable Commissioner, thank you very much. We just played the chairman's remarks. He was not able to make this program, but he sent his short 2-minute video.
Let's start. People are going. Let's start.
As you know, the world has become a smaller place now, and you have to really be a global player for you to do business. Especially with innovation surrounding, tech, the high tech. You have Instagram, you have Twitter, and business itself is global, and it must be followed by best practices internationally. I'm sure that the guest speaker, who has a lot of experience from points, etc., will do justice to this lecture. I would wish the AGOS directors, more success in their endeavors, and I hope you all enjoy the speech. God bless you all. Thank you. Bye. The AGOS directors, more success.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming out to celebrate with us. My name is Nkiruka Isiogo. I am the Client Service Manager of AGOS Executive Business Lounge, and I've been opportunity to manage this great company for about 4 years now. So I really want to appreciate everybody that really a date with us. I would like to thank the chairman of the occasion, Mr. Olu Okelwo. That was the person who just listened to. And then our special guest of honor, Honorable Yemi Adibotife. I'm an Igbo girl, so forgive the pronunciation. And I would also like to thank our special guest of honor for joining us today now. He had taken us through a long process of training and telling us how he was able to manage the Punch newspaper and build it to the standard it is right now. The person of Sadimola Oshunubi. I hope that I got that correctly. And our honorable client has been with us through this journey. It's been a journey for us. We'd like to thank Metropolitan School of Business We call them our sister company. They've been with us from the inception, from the get-go. They saw the vision ahead of us and they stick with us all through to now. I'd like to thank PU Prime. PU Prime is the first company, Metropolitan School of Business, MSBM. They do courses on masters, they train companies, they do degree courses and all of that. So they have probably at the end of this, people can exchange contact and all of that. So we have PU Prime, which is the first company. We have Eco Assets, they do asset management and all. We have Jumia with us. They've been with us for quite a while now, you know. We have Aston University, Canon, Towers, PU Prime, many more multinational companies. I can't name them from the top of my head. So we also do virtual plan, meaning if you have an office space on the island and you want to have a correspondent on the mainland, you can use our business address as your business address, and then we receive mail and pass on your behalf and all. And then we have meeting rooms, board rooms, where you can do your conferences, training, seminars, whatever you do. So AGOS have all you would need for an office space. And the beauty of using our office space as your office space is you're not confined to your office alone. You have access to use our lounges, to attend to your client. And when you come in, you see there's no billboard and all of that everywhere. So it gives you these executive feels and make your investors trust you and know that if you could invest in being in a place like this, you're not going to take their money and run away. So I actually just want to say thank you so much for honoring our invitation, and God bless you. And if you would like to see the facility before you go, we have our team on ground that'll take you on a tour to see our office space and everything you have. Thank you so much. Yes, so I think we'd like to close with a closing prayer. So I'd like to call Pastor AGOS to take us through that session. Thank you.
Let us pray. Our Father, our God, our Maker, and our all in all. We know nothing begins without you, and we know nothing ends without you. We want to thank you for how you have helped us. Thank you for the conception of AGOS. Thank you for the birth of AGOS. Thank you for AGOS first year. Thank you for AGOS second year. Thank you for AGOS third year. Thank you for the fourth year. And thank you for this glorious fifth year. Accept our thanks in Jesus' name. Amen. Father, we are lifting up AGOS unto your hand. Because no matter how one might want to build a global brand, except the Lord build it, the builder buildeth it in vain. Therefore, our Father, we are asking, Lord, that you take over the building of AGOS. Make it a global brand. Amen. That will showcase your glory. Amen. And for those that you will use, oh Lord, you empower them. Amen. You will give them wisdom. Amen. You will give them knowledge. Amen. And you will give them understanding. Amen. Thank you, Abba Father. Lord, we ask again that you enthrone AGOS. Amen. You will strengthen the enthronement. Amen. You will announce the enthronement. Amen. Thank you, Abba Father. Lord, we ask, oh Lord, that in 10 years' time, AGOS will be another thing. Amen. 20 years, it will still be bouncing. 30 years, it will be expansive. And above all, oh Lord, we pray that AGOS will outlive the founders. Thank you, Abba Father. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And as we go, we ask that your presence will go with us. Your glory will go with us. Your honor will go with us. Your strength will go with us. Your riches will go with us. Your blessing will go with us. In the name of Jesus. Even as we are getting home, we are meeting glory at home. Joy at home. And as the year is running to an end, we will not weep over anyone. Thank you, faithful Father.
Blessed and honor be unto your name. Jesus' matchless name I pray.
Amen.
Hello, sir. Hello, Joe.
Thank you.
Hello, Joe.
Sir.
That's so. So.
Man, I just got the phone. Yeah, pass. The zone. Pass the zone, mama, waste time. No, this is
Recording stopped.
One more. Okay. Thank you. Process. Chiboy. Sir. Madam, let's sit down. Madam,